If you were to sit with me tonight, dear one, perhaps curled into a cozy armchair, listening to the gentle ticking of the old clock on the mantel and the soft hush of evening settling outside, I would want to ease your heart and let you know this. You are not alone in your worries. We all, no matter our age or journey, find ourselves awake some nights, turning over questions and doubts, fearing the unknown. But let me tell you a secret learned over many decades. The things that worry us most can become the very soil from which our deepest wisdom grows. When I was young, I thought worrying meant I cared, that my anxious thoughts might prevent troubles before they started. It took me years to realize that worries are like passing clouds. They obscure the sky, but above them, the sun always remains. With time, I learned to welcome worries like old friends visiting for tea, listening for the lessons they wished to share before gently sending them on their way. Worry, you see, is just your heart's way of seeking safety, but it can also be an invitation to pause, to reflect, and to choose what really matters. In these quiet moments together, I hope to share stories and simple truths that help me turn my worries into wisdom. Let us remember together that mistakes are teachers, not verdicts. Let us find the courage to face the unknown, not with dread, but with curiosity, knowing that every question brings its own answer in time. There were many moments in my life when I worried about things that never happened. A test I thought I'd fail, a friendship I feared I'd lose, a future I could never quite predict. Looking back, so much of that anxious energy was spent trying to control what could never truly be controlled. If I could offer you one soft piece of wisdom, it would be this. Learn to greet uncertainty with kindness. The future has a way of unfolding in its own time, bringing both challenges and joys, often in ways you never expect. Trust that you are strong enough to meet whatever comes and that you don't have to know every answer to take the next step. When you find yourself worrying, breathe. Let the breath anchor you in the present, where you are always safe, always whole, always enough. Sometimes the best antidote to worry is action, even a small one. Tidying a corner of your room, writing a letter to a friend, stepping outside to feel the sun on your face. Other times, the kindest thing you can do is rest, to let the world spin without your guidance, to remember that your worth is not measured by how many problems you solve. I have learned that the wisest people are not those who worry least, but those who know how to turn worry into care, into attention, into gentle persistence. They do not let fear close their hearts, but allow it to soften them, to make them more compassionate, more patient with themselves and others. My hope for you is that you learn to treat your worries as signals, not stop signs, as gentle reminders to check in with yourself, to ask what needs tending, what needs letting go. Wisdom comes slowly, dear one, often through mistakes, through heartache, through letting go of things we once thought were essential. Each worry is a messenger, and when you listen, you may find a hidden longing, a desire for connection, for understanding, for meaning. Be gentle with yourself in these moments. Speak to your heart as you would to a beloved friend. Remind yourself that you are doing your best, and that is enough. Sometimes wisdom is simply learning to wait, to trust that clarity will come, that you will know what to do when the moment is right. Until then, let yourself be held by the beauty around you, the warmth of a cup of tea, the sound of rain against the window, the comfort of a familiar voice. Let your senses bring you back to the here and now, where life is always happening, where peace is always waiting to be found. If you can, turn some of your worry into gratitude. Thank your worries for trying to protect you, then gently release them and look for one thing to appreciate, however small: a kind gesture, a blooming flower, a laugh shared. Over time, you may notice that your heart grows lighter, your mind more open to new possibilities. This is how worry becomes wisdom, not all at once, but in the quiet accumulation of calm, of trust, of kindness. As I sit with you now, I want you to know that all your worries, your hopes, your dreams, and your questions are welcome here. You are not alone in the night. You are joined by all those who have walked this path before you, each one learning, each one growing, each one gathering a little more wisdom as the years go by. Let us walk together, you and I, and turn our worries into gentle lanterns lighting the way ahead. And as we continue this quiet conversation, I want to share something that it took me a lifetime to understand. So much of what we worry about is shaped by the stories we tell ourselves. Often we imagine the worst, convinced that we must always be on guard, as if anxiety could shield us from pain or disappointment. But, my dear, the truth is, life will bring us both joys and sorrows no matter how tightly we hold on. The art of living wisely is not in banishing worry forever, but in learning to let go of what we cannot control and choosing what to nurture in our minds and hearts. I remember many nights as a young parent, sitting by the window after everyone else had gone to sleep, heart racing with worries about the future, about my children, my health, my work, the world outside my door. And yet, the years proved to me that so many of the things I feared never came to pass, while some of the most beautiful moments appeared where I least expected them. Looking back, I see that my energy would have been better spent tending to what was real, what was in front of me, what I could touch, what I could love. I hope you will practice bringing your thoughts back to the present, again and again, whenever worry tries to pull you away. Ask yourself, what is true right now? What is needed? What is good? Sometimes it's as simple as breathing deeply, noticing the softness of your blanket, or listening for the quiet rhythm of your heartbeat. These small anchors keep us grounded when the winds of anxiety blow strong. And if you find yourself swept up in worry, remember that you can always ask for help. No one is meant to carry the weight of the world alone. Call a friend. Write in your journal. Go for a walk. Sometimes speaking your fears aloud is enough to shrink them back down to size, to remind you that you are held, supported, and understood. I have learned that wisdom often lives in community, in the shared stories, the laughter, the gentle reminders that we are all human and all afraid sometimes. When you are honest about your worries, you give others permission to be honest about theirs. And together, you discover new strength. Another way to turn worry into wisdom is to ask yourself what your heart is truly longing for. Underneath many worries is a hope for safety, for love, for belonging, for meaning. Let your worries point you toward what matters most. Use them as a compass, guiding you to care for your relationships, your well-being, your dreams. And remember, you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to lay your worries down, even for a little while. The world keeps spinning, the sun keeps rising, even when we pause to breathe, to laugh, to simply be. Let yourself enjoy the present moment. Notice the colors of the sky, the flavor of your food, the feeling of warm water on your hands. These small pleasures are the gifts that remind us life is more than our fears. And as you gather wisdom from your worries, share it generously. Offer encouragement to someone who needs it. Share a lesson you learned. Listen without judgment to the burdens of a friend. In doing so, you become part of the great circle of comfort and hope that binds us all. You turn your own worries into a source of strength, not just for yourself, but for others. Each day, you have the chance to become a little wiser, a little gentler, a little more free. This is the quiet, lifelong work of the heart, and it is always enough. And as you settle deeper into this moment, I hope you feel the gentle truth that no one expects you to have it all figured out. Not now, not ever. Wisdom is not a finish line, but a journey, a path we walk with curiosity and humility. The world may be full of advice and expectations, but what matters most is that you learn to trust your own heart, to give yourself permission to grow slowly, and to change your mind as you learn and experience more. So much unnecessary worry comes from believing we must have all the answers or make perfect decisions. But every wise soul I have ever known carried their share of uncertainty. What sets them apart is the willingness to begin anyway, to try, to stumble, and to begin again. Let yourself be a beginner over and over. Each day offers new chances to listen, to learn, to let go of old fears, and invite in new hope. I remember seasons in my life when I clung so tightly to my plans, thinking I could control every outcome. But life, in its kindness, showed me again and again that the real treasures come from being open to surprises, to new friendships, to challenges that build resilience, to the lessons only patience can teach. If you find yourself tangled in worries about making mistakes, I invite you to see those mistakes as stepping stones, not roadblocks. Each one is proof that you were brave enough to care, to try, to risk loving or learning or being seen. Celebrate that bravery. Wisdom grows not in spite of mistakes, but because of them. And as you travel your own path, remember that it is never too late to choose a new direction, to mend hurt, to ask for forgiveness, or to dream a different dream. Worry loses its grip when you realize you can always start anew, no matter your age or circumstance. And sometimes turning worries into wisdom simply means listening, really listening to what your heart is trying to tell you. When you feel anxious or uneasy, pause and ask yourself what is needed. Sometimes it is rest, sometimes it is action. Sometimes it is reaching out for help or setting a boundary. Sometimes it is simply letting yourself feel what you feel without judgment. All feelings are welcome. All are teachers if you let them be. In the quiet of reflection, worries soften and wisdom finds space to bloom. You might find, as I have, that what once felt overwhelming becomes manageable when held in the light of acceptance. It is not weakness to feel worry. It is a sign that you care deeply about your life and the lives of those around you. Let that caring guide you to be gentle, both with yourself and others. If ever you are unsure of what to do, choose the next kind thing toward yourself or another. Kindness is always wise. And if your worries ever feel too heavy, remember, you can lay them down even for a little while. Go outside and watch the way the world keeps turning. Clouds moving, leaves fluttering, birds singing. The world's steady rhythms remind us that we are part of something larger. that our burdens do not have to be carried alone or forever. In every season, in every worry, there is wisdom waiting to be gathered, one small insight at a time. Trust this gentle process and trust yourself to find the way forward, step by quiet step. And as you listen to these quiet reflections, I hope you sense how deeply your journey matters. Not just the successes and bright moments, but also the doubts, the questions, and the long nights spent wrestling with uncertainty. For it is in the shadows as much as in the sunlight that we come to know ourselves, and wisdom, like a pearl, is shaped by patience and the slow work of transformation. I remember times in my own life when worry felt like a shadow I couldn't shake, following me from room to room, whispering stories of what might go wrong. In those seasons, I learned to become curious about my worries instead of afraid of them. I would sit quietly, sometimes with a cup of tea warming my hands, and ask my anxious heart, "What is it you are trying to protect?" Often, the answer surprised me. Beneath my worry, I would find a longing for safety, for belonging, for reassurance that I was enough, even when the world felt uncertain. Naming those longings helped to soften the sharp edge of anxiety and allowed me to care for myself in new ways. If you feel weighed down by worries, try listening gently to what they are asking for. Sometimes it is rest, sometimes connection, sometimes a reminder that you are already doing enough. Give yourself what comfort you can. Wrap yourself in a favorite blanket. Write a note of encouragement to yourself. Reach out to someone who cares. The act of tending to your own needs is not selfish. It is the foundation of lasting wisdom. As you become kinder to yourself, you will notice your heart growing more spacious, more able to offer comfort to others, more able to trust that even in difficult times, you will find your way. Over the years, I have found that many of my worries faded when I turned my attention to gratitude. It is a simple practice, but a powerful one. At the end of each day, name 3 things, however small, that brought you comfort or delight. A gentle rain, a kind word, a moment of laughter. These are the threads that weave hope into the fabric of your days. Gratitude does not make worries disappear, but it does remind you that there is goodness alongside the challenges, that joy and sorrow can coexist. And in the quiet of gratitude, worries lose some of their power, and wisdom grows stronger. If you have a ritual that brings you peace, a walk at dusk, a prayer before bed, a few minutes with a beloved pet, make space for it. These small acts of self-care are not luxuries. They are essential to turning worries into wisdom. They anchor you in the present, helping you remember that life is made of moments and that you are allowed to savor them, even as you move through uncertainty. And if you ever feel alone in your struggles, remember that your story is shared by countless others across time and distance. Every generation faces its own fears, its own questions, its own search for meaning. You are never truly alone. You are part of a great tapestry woven with the threads of hope, courage, and resilience. Let that knowledge comfort you when worry visits. And when you have gathered your own wisdom from the trials you faced, share it with gentleness, for you never know whose life you might lighten with a kind word or an understanding smile. The journey is long, dear one, but it is beautiful, and you are walking it with grace. And as you move forward, remember that wisdom does not require you to be fearless, but rather to walk gently alongside your fears, learning their lessons and letting them soften rather than harden your heart. Some of the bravest people I have known are not those who never worried, but those who chose to keep loving, keep hoping, keep showing up, even while carrying the quiet burdens of doubt. When the world feels overwhelming, let yourself take things one moment at a time. Break your worries down into the smallest possible pieces. What needs to be done now, in this breath, in this hour? Often, the things that seemed impossible shrink when faced in manageable steps. It is a kindness to yourself to rest when you are tired, to ask for help when you are struggling, to allow yourself the grace to be imperfect and unfinished. You are a living story, still being written, and each page brings new wisdom, new possibility. There will be days when worries press in like storm clouds, when you feel fragile or uncertain. Let those be days for tenderness, a favorite meal, a quiet walk, a few minutes in the company of someone who loves you just as you are. It is not weakness to need comfort. It is part of being beautifully human. In fact, some of the greatest wisdom I have gained came from letting myself receive care, learning that we are meant to support each other through both sorrow and joy. Give yourself permission to be cared for, and know that your own warmth and compassion are gifts to those around you. Don't forget to rest in this truth, that you are capable of turning worries into tender strength, constantly growing into the more loving and wise person you are meant to be. With time, you may find that your worries teach you patience. Patience with the pace of life, with others, and with yourself. Sometimes the answers you seek will come slowly, unfolding like new leaves in spring. Trust in the slow work of becoming wise. Let yourself change your mind, forgive yourself for old missteps, and begin again as often as needed. There is no deadline on healing, no finish line to cross before you can claim peace. Each moment of letting go, each gentle acceptance, each act of courage, however small, adds to the wisdom you carry. If you find yourself longing for certainty, remember that wisdom is not knowing everything, but being willing to keep learning. It is a lifelong practice, one you are already living, simply by showing up for yourself and for those you love. Turn toward your worries with kindness, and they may become the very companions that show you how strong, how gentle, and how wise you truly are. And as the days and seasons change, remember to honor each feeling that visits you along the way. Worries, like the weather, come and go, sometimes with a heavy downpour, sometimes as a gentle mist, and sometimes as clear skies that you almost forget were ever clouded. Let each feeling be welcomed as a guest, carrying a message, a memory, or a need. I have learned that when I tried to silence my worries or push them aside, they grew stronger in the quiet corners of my mind. But when I sat with them, breathed deeply, and listened, they often softened, their edges rounded by the warmth of acceptance. You are allowed to feel anxious. You are allowed to wish things were different. You are allowed to long for reassurance and for peace. Each of these feelings is part of the tapestry of your life, and they do not make you any less wise or brave. In fact, allowing your feelings to surface with gentleness is an act of courage and a doorway to deeper wisdom. In my own journey, I have found peace in small routines and rituals: a morning cup of tea, tending a garden, lighting a candle at dusk, writing a few lines in a journal before bed. These simple acts ground me, reminding me that even when life is uncertain, there is steadiness to be found in the present. Try, if you can, to notice the details of your own days: the flavor of your food, the texture of the air, the warmth of sunlight on your face, the kindness in a friend's voice. These are moments that nourish the spirit and help transform worry into gratitude. And when your worries feel heavy, share them if you are able. you may find that others too are carrying unseen burdens, and in the sharing, both hearts are lightened. Wisdom grows in the soil of connection and compassion. And don't forget the healing power of laughter, even in the midst of difficult times. Allow yourself to find joy where you can, to be surprised by delight, to let yourself play. Play is not a luxury for the young, but a medicine for the soul at every age. Whether you sing, paint, dance, or simply watch the birds outside your window, give yourself the gift of moments when you forget your worries and remember the beauty of being alive. The more you make room for joy and presence, the more you will find that worries lose their power, and wisdom becomes your constant companion. Step by gentle step, this is how you walk through life, turning even your deepest worries into quiet wisdom, carried in your heart for all the days to come. And as I reflect on the countless faces and voices that have passed through my life, I see how everyone carries a secret world of hopes and fears, dreams and doubts, quietly shaping their days. The wise ones, I've learned, are not those who never worry, but those who meet their worries with openness, curiosity, and a gentle resolve to keep moving forward. If ever you find yourself overwhelmed by what-ifs or weighed down by what might-bes, pause and remember that the present moment is a safe harbor. Bring yourself back to the sensations of now, your breath rising and falling, the quiet hum of life around you, the feel of your feet on the floor. These small details anchor you when the mind wants to rush ahead or rewind. Let them be your companions as you learn, again and again, that you do not have to solve every problem all at once. Sometimes wisdom is the patience to wait, the humility to accept uncertainty, the grace to rest in the questions rather than chase immediate answers. In the long arc of living, I have discovered that the most beautiful solutions often arrive in their own time. Sometimes when I least expect them, sometimes as a gentle knowing in my bones, sometimes as the kind words of a friend or the sudden clarity that comes after a good night's sleep. Trust the wisdom of your own unfolding, and remember that not knowing is not a flaw but a gift. It keeps you searching, asking, growing. If ever you find yourself lost, return to what is simple and true. Care for your body, nourish your spirit, connect with people who bring out the best, spend time in nature, and create something, however small, with your hands or your heart. Let these acts remind you of your own resilience, your quiet power to endure and to thrive, even when worries linger at the edges. And know that every time you face a worry and choose kindness toward yourself, toward another, or toward the world, you grow a little wiser, a little more compassionate, a little more free. That, dear one, is the wisdom you will carry with you, a lantern lighting your way through both darkness and dawn. And as night settles in and the gentle hush of evening wraps the world in its quiet arms, let this be your reminder that peace is not the absence of worry, but the presence of trust. A trust in yourself, in the unfolding of your days, and in the gentle rhythm of life that moves through everything. If you find yourself lying awake, thoughts circling, remember that you have survived every uncertain night before this one, and that dawn always brings a new perspective. Let your worries drift like leaves on a stream, acknowledging each one and then letting it go, trusting that what truly needs your care will remain and the rest will pass. With each year, I have come to appreciate more deeply the healing power of forgiveness, not just toward others, but toward myself. The mind can cling so tightly to past regrets, to things said or left unsaid, to choices made in confusion or fear. But wisdom is a gentle teacher, reminding us that everyone is learning as they go, and that kindness to yourself is the beginning of every healing. When worries arise about what you cannot change, breathe deeply and forgive yourself for being human. You are not meant to be perfect. You are meant to grow, to stumble and rise, to gather experience and let it soften you. This is the heart of compassion, knowing that your own struggles connect you to all those around you, that you are never truly alone in your worry or your hope. Each time you choose forgiveness, you lighten your own heart and make room for more laughter, more joy, more curiosity about what is yet to come. And always let gratitude walk with you, even in the smallest ways. In the middle of a hard day, pause to notice something good. A bird singing, a kind face, the taste of your favorite food. These are the gifts that keep you steady, that remind you of beauty, that help you turn worry into appreciation. And as you keep moving through your days, remember that your presence is a gift, that your wisdom, shaped by all you have felt and faced, is needed in this world, and that every gentle act of care you offer to yourself or to others makes the world a softer, kinder place. And as the story of your life continues, with all its twists and tender turns, I want you to know that your journey, complete with every worry, every victory, every lesson learned, matters more than you may ever realize. Every time you choose to keep going, even when doubt whispers that you can't, you are showing the quiet courage that wisdom is made of. Remember that courage isn't loud or flashy. Sometimes it's just the simple act of facing one more day with open eyes, offering kindness when you feel small, or finding the strength to rest when you are tired. There is wisdom in honoring your limits, in giving yourself permission to slow down, to listen to your body and your heart, to say no when you need space, and yes when your soul says yes. Through it all, I hope you will let your worries draw you closer to your own compassion, for yourself, for others, and for the beautiful imperfection of life itself. The wisest people I have known did not wait for all their worries to disappear before they began to live fully. They simply carried their worries alongside their dreams, trusting that there is enough room in the heart for both. If you can, let your worries soften you rather than close you off. Let them remind you to care more deeply, to listen more fully, to treasure the fragile moments of beauty and joy that fill each day. When life feels uncertain or heavy, return to the simple things: gentle music, fresh air, familiar routines, the comfort of your favorite book, or the steady presence of a true friend. These are the anchors that keep you rooted in the present, that help you remember that whatever tomorrow brings, you already have within you the wisdom you need to meet it. And as you gather these quiet lessons, share them when you can. A smile for a stranger, encouragement for a friend, forgiveness for an old hurt, or patience for someone who is struggling. In this way, you turn your worries into wisdom, your struggles into stories, your ordinary days into something quietly extraordinary. Know that you are part of the great story of all who have come before you, all who walk beside you now, and all who will follow, each one learning to turn worry into wisdom, one gentle breath at a time. And as you rest in this moment, breathing in the gentle assurance that life is more than the sum of its worries, I hope you allow yourself to imagine the freedom that comes from simply being. No need to impress, no need to chase, no need to have everything figured out. The young and the old, the joyful and the sorrowful, the strong and the weary, all are united by the steady rhythm of learning to let go. Letting go does not mean forgetting what matters or denying what you feel. It means giving yourself permission to trust that you can carry what is truly important and set the rest down. I have watched seasons turn, relationships ebb and flow, opportunities come and go. What remains are the moments of presence, the honest conversation, the shared meal, the touch of a hand, the comfort of being understood. These are what turn worry into wisdom, the gentle knowing that, in the end, love is what lingers. Practice loving yourself through your worries. Remind yourself that being uncertain is part of being alive. Let your heart soften to your own flaws, and you will find it easier to accept the imperfections in others. And as you walk through this world, let your steps be guided by hope more than fear, by curiosity more than dread. It is a practice, not a perfection. On some days, your worries may loom large. On others, they may fade into the background. With each breath, with each act of compassion, you weave another thread of wisdom into the fabric of your days. Whenever you feel unsure, remember to return to the basics: rest, nourishment, movement, laughter, connection. These are timeless remedies, handed down through generations, and they work as well now as they ever did. Your greatest wisdom will be found not in what you avoid, but in what you face with an open, steady heart. And when the day is done, forgive yourself once more and trust that you are growing into the wise, gentle soul you are meant to be. As the years pass, you may even find yourself sharing these same comforts and lessons with those who come after, turning your own worries into a lantern for another's path. This, dear one, is the quiet, enduring gift of living with wisdom. And as time flows gently onward and you gather both memories and dreams along your way, let yourself become a keeper of gentle lessons, the kind learned not from grand victories or stunning achievements, but from the quiet resilience that comes from tending your own worries with love and patience. Over the years, I have come to cherish the small acts that bring calm to a restless mind. Lighting a candle in the evening, writing down what is heavy on my heart, reaching out to someone simply to say, "I'm thinking of you." These little rituals do not erase worry, but they give it a place, a name, a way to soften and transform. Sometimes your worries are reminders to slow down, to listen, to make space for what matters most. Sometimes they are teachers, showing you what you care about and pointing the way to small, steady acts of courage. When you tend to your own spirit in these ways, you become gentler toward the world around you. And as you look back on the many seasons of your life, you may be surprised to discover that the very worries you once thought would undo you have become threads in the tapestry of your wisdom, evidence of your caring, your willingness to face uncertainty, your capacity to grow and begin again. Take pride in your journey. Honor the person you have become, not despite your worries, but in part because of them. Your empathy, your patience, your quiet hope in the face of not knowing, these are the true signs of a wise heart. Let them shine through your words and actions so that others may find comfort and courage in your presence. The wisdom you gather now will someday be a lantern for someone else, a gentle reassurance that it is possible to live with uncertainty and still find beauty, still offer kindness, still love well. So let your worries be what they are, not obstacles, but invitations to live more deeply, to love more freely, and to carry the light of your own hard-won wisdom into every day you are given. And as you rise to greet each new morning, remember that the gift of a wise life is not measured by how little you worry, but by how kindly you meet those worries, by how gently you speak to yourself when storms arise in your mind, and how patiently you turn each anxious thought into a chance for care. Over the years, I have come to see that wisdom is often the accumulation of small choices: to breathe before reacting, to forgive before resentment takes root, to listen with curiosity rather than judgment, to give yourself permission to rest and start again. There have been times, especially in the quiet hours before dawn, when worry sat on my chest like a heavy stone, and all the old questions returned. Will I be enough? Will those I love be safe? Have I done all I can? But with each season, I've learned to offer myself the same compassion I would offer to a grandchild or a dear friend. I remind myself that fear is not a prophecy, it is only a feeling, a wave that will rise and fall and pass. On the other side of each wave is the calm that always returns, the inner knowing that you have faced hard things before and you will find your way again. As you grow into your own wisdom, you will see how important it is to stay close to gratitude, sometimes for things as simple as a soft pillow, the laughter of someone you love, a kind note, the warmth of the sun on your skin. These small graces are not just comforts. They are reminders that even in times of worry, the world still offers beauty, hope, and renewal. Allow yourself to collect moments of joy like treasures: a favorite book, a walk in fresh air, a memory that makes you smile. Let them be your anchors when uncertainty comes. And in your relationships, keep seeking understanding over being right and connection over control. The young often fear mistakes, but as the years teach, it's humility and kindness that deepen relationships and ease worries, not certainty or perfection. Apologize when you are wrong. Laugh at your missteps. Hold space for others to be imperfect too. This is the gentle courage that wisdom brings. If ever your worries feel too great to bear, remember that you can always ask for help, and that there is quiet strength in letting yourself be held by those who love you. Just as important, let yourself be the one who listens and reassures, who reminds another that their worries are human, their story is worthy, and their efforts are enough. As you turn each day's worries into wisdom, you build not just a better life for yourself, but a softer world for all who walk beside you. And as the years ripple forward, let yourself find wonder in the ordinary, even as you hold space for your own uncertainties. There is a special wisdom in seeing that every day is an invitation to listen more deeply, to feel more fully, to let your heart remain soft and awake. Some days, worries may crowd your mind like restless birds. But even then, notice what is steady beneath the flutter: your breath, the kindness you can offer yourself, the hope that persists in spite of all. As I look back, I see how many of my own worries pointed me toward what mattered most. When I worried about my children, it was because I loved them deeply. When I worried about mistakes, it was because I cared about doing right. These worries, met with patience and compassion, helped me grow into a person who could offer comfort, not just to myself, but to others. If you can, let your worries soften you. Allow them to remind you to reach out, to connect, to share your story and listen to the stories of those around you. In every generation, the greatest gift we give is the wisdom of our experience, the hard-won lessons, and the gentle reassurances that even when the road seems uncertain, you are never walking it alone. Share your insights not as answers, but as encouragement, reminders that the path to wisdom is winding and that it is perfectly human to stumble, to wonder, and to begin again. Cherish the moments of quiet understanding that pass between friends, the laughter that springs up in the middle of tears, the silent support that needs no words. These are the moments when wisdom and love come together to ease the weight of worry. When you meet others who are burdened by fear or doubt, let your presence be a calm harbor, a reminder that every heart carries both worries and hopes, and that together we can turn even our deepest anxieties into something softer, lighter, and quietly beautiful. And as your story unfolds, with its quiet triumphs and silent struggles, let each chapter remind you that wisdom is not found in a life without worry, but in a heart that learns to greet each worry with tenderness and understanding. Over time, I have seen how the simple act of returning to the present moment, again and again, helps transform anxiety into awareness and fear into gentle care. When you find your thoughts drifting to what might go wrong, pause and invite your senses back to now. Feel the chair beneath you, notice the sound of your own breathing, the steady beat of your heart, the light filtering through the window. These are anchors that tether you to what is real. And in that reality, worries soften and wisdom grows. If you can, make it a practice to find a small ritual that brings you comfort. Lighting a candle at dusk, walking barefoot on grass, humming a favorite tune, writing down 3 things you're grateful for before sleep. These habits are not a cure for worry, but they are companions that remind you that you have weathered many storms before and will weather those to come. I hope you see that the more you honor your feelings, without judgment, without rushing them away, the more you become a safe place for yourself. And as your own compassion deepens, you will find yourself more able to extend that same understanding to those you love, and even to those who cross your path only briefly. The world is full of people quietly carrying their own worries. Sometimes your smile, your patience, or your willingness to listen is the greatest wisdom you can offer. In this way, your worries become a bridge to connection, a thread in the great tapestry of human experience. Let yourself trust that the wisdom you are gathering now will someday help another, and that your story, with all its worries and wonder, is a gift to the world. And as you look toward the days ahead, let the wisdom you've gathered through facing your worries become a soft strength within you, a source of quiet courage and gentle confidence. The world may still offer uncertainties, and your heart may still quicken with questions in the night, but trust that you have already learned so much about how to be present, how to be kind, how to turn toward yourself with understanding. Let your heart remain open to the possibility of joy, even when the sky is overcast. Sometimes a single moment of delight, a shared smile, a beautiful melody, the scent of something baking, can remind you that life is full of small, steady comforts that persist even when bigger worries loom. When you notice yourself spiraling into what-ifs, bring your mind gently back to the nearest kindness, the nearest comfort, the next true thing you can do. Remember that you don't have to carry your burdens alone. Share your struggles with those you trust, and let them share theirs with you. Connection, laughter, shared silence. These are the gifts that make the weight of worry lighter. If you find yourself longing for guidance, look to the stories of those who have gone before you. They too faced doubts and fears, and their greatest legacy was not perfection, but the willingness to love and to learn despite uncertainty. Be gentle with yourself when you falter. Each stumble is an opportunity to practice grace. Let forgiveness, for yourself and for others, be a recurring melody in your life. This is the wisdom that endures, to keep showing up, to keep hoping, to keep making room for beauty and for sorrow, for peace and for worry, all held together in the wide embrace of your ever-growing heart. Over time, you'll see how every worry you've faced has been another step toward deeper understanding and greater compassion, not just for yourself, but for the whole world around you. And as the years continued their patient, quiet turning, let yourself marvel at the resilience that has brought you this far. Each worry faced and each gentle lesson learned becomes another stitch in the fabric of your character, a tapestry woven from hope, persistence, and the grace of letting yourself be human. I hope you see now that wisdom is not some distant, unreachable mountain. It is the path you walk every day, the slow and steady progress of meeting life as it comes, both with courage and humility. If you ever begin to doubt yourself, remember the times you weathered storms you once thought impossible, the kindnesses you offered when you felt most uncertain, the laughter you shared in moments of light, and the tears you let fall in times of heaviness. Every feeling is part of the journey, and each moment of compassion, especially when offered to yourself, is a stepping stone to greater wisdom.
I have known loss and regret, but I have also known the healing that comes with forgiveness and letting go. If you carry something heavy from your past, allow yourself, with kindness, to set it down. Each day is a new opportunity to lay aside old fears, resentments, or doubts. The more lightly you travel, the more room you make for joy, for laughter, for new beginnings. And always keep learning, not just with your mind, but with your heart. Ask what each season, each person, each trial can teach you. Remain a student of life, willing to be changed by what you discover. This openness is youthfulness itself, and it will draw people to you, will fill your days with unexpected gifts, and will keep you vibrant and awake to the wonder of your own unfolding story. And as the seasons pass and you witness your own story growing richer and deeper, I hope you remember to honor your journey, with all its twists and turns, as something sacred and uniquely your own. Sometimes you may look back and see roads not taken, or you may wonder whether you missed some hidden secret along the way. Let me assure you, dear one, that there is no single right path, only the path you make with your choices, your hopes, your kindness, and your courage. The people I've seen who stay most vibrant are those who make peace with imperfection, who embrace both the sweet and the bittersweet as necessary chapters in the book of their life. They are gentle with themselves and others, and they let themselves be changed by love, by sorrow, by beauty, by failure, by the simple ongoing act of living. To stay young at heart, welcome new chapters even when you are unsure what they will bring. Take risks with your affection, your learning, your dreams. Applaud your efforts, not just your outcomes. And forgive yourself for the things you didn't know until you learned them. Youthfulness is curiosity for tomorrow, not regret for yesterday. Carry your memories as treasures, but do not let them weigh you down. Let them inspire you to keep moving forward, to keep trusting that life has more to give you, more to teach, more to delight and surprise. If you find yourself growing restless or discouraged, go outside and let the world remind you of its endless renewal. The way spring follows winter,
the way the moon grows full and then returns to darkness, the way laughter can break through tears.
This is the foundation of wisdom, the willingness to be imperfect, to keep trying, to let love have the final word. As you look ahead, trust that your days will bring not just new worries, but new joys, new growth, new opportunities to give and to receive. Let yourself welcome each one with the same curiosity and courage that have carried you this far, knowing that every worry faced is another chance to become softer, kinder, and more truly wise. Thank you for sharing this time with me, for listening with your heart, and for letting my words be a gentle companion on your journey. If this message brought you comfort or hope, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe so that others too may find a little light in their own hours of worry. You are not alone. You are enough. And your wisdom, unique and growing, will shine on for many seasons to come.